Hi, this is the first part of my series about vocal arranging. Today we're going to be talking about notation software. You only need a notation software if you're arranging specifically for an a cappella group that needs to read music. Alright, so first we have Noteflight here, which is free and online, and it's great for collaboration. I started on Noteflight, so I highly recommend. MuseScore is also free and you can use it online and share scores easily. Alright, next we have Sibelius, which is not free, but it's very user-friendly and you can make really beautiful, nice-looking scores. And then we have Finale, which is not free and it's very complicated but very powerful. That's for like really serious musicians, arrangers, composers. These definitely aren't the only notation softwares, but these are just the ones that I know and that a lot of people recommend. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about digital audio workstations and why you should record while you're vocal arranging. Part 2 in my series on better vocal arranging. Today we're going to be talking about my #1 recommendation secret to better vocal arranging, which is recording as you arrange. Why should we do this? First, recording as you arrange will make sure that you're writing parts that are actually fun to sing and singable. If it's not enjoyable and relatively easy to sing for you, it's not going to be for other people and you probably shouldn't write it. #2, the human voice is so complex and it goes so far beyond just the notes and the rhythms that you write on the page. So going through and recording all the parts of your arrangement will allow you to access this whole other dimension of vocal arranging, which includes things like the tone and the dynamics and the vocal ornamentations like scoops and slides and the emotion behind it. #3, you'll absolutely become a better singer and musician. Next, I'm going to be talking about how to record if you have never done so. This is part 3 in my series on better vocal arranging. So in the last video, I talked about why we should record while we arrange. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to do that if you've never recorded before. So if you don't have a microphone or a fancy software, don't freak out. I got you. Let's talk about some options. First, you're going to need a digital audio workstation. BandLab and Soundtrap are both free DAWs that you can access online via the browser or the mobile app, which is awesome. If you have a MacBook, you can use GarageBand or Logic. GarageBand comes with it, it's free. Logic is the fancy version, which I use and I love it so much. If you don't own a fancy microphone, you can literally use those earphones with the microphone on it. That'll do the trick. If you want me to make a separate video talking about starter mics, I'd be happy to do that. Once you have your mic and your DAW and your notation software from part 1, you're good to go. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about setting up your arrangement. Part 4 in my series on better vocal arranging. So once you have a song in mind that you're going to arrange, the first thing you need to figure out is the tempo and the key. To find the tempo, you can use a free online tempo tapper. Just Google it and it helps you find the tempo by tapping the beat. To find the key, you can either look it up or figure it out with your musical brain. So with tempo and key, you need to consider whether your arrangement will differ from the original. So if you're doing an upbeat song but you want to arrange it as a ballad, obviously you want to make the tempo slower. If you're doing an Ariana Grande song but you know you're going to use a tenor soloist, you would change the key to fit that. If you are going to change the tempo or key, just make sure you have a good reason for it. Now that you have tempo and key, it's time to transcribe and record the solo, which is a huge pain, but you have to do it. Part 5 in my series on better vocal arranging. Today I'm going to be talking about starting your arrangement. So first you want to ask yourself how much of the arrangement you want to transcribe versus compose. Transcribe meaning copying certain elements and sounds from the original song. Compose meaning coming up with new music. Now, just because a song is good doesn't mean you can translate everything about that song into a cappella. You can't, you shouldn't. But of course, some elements can be adapted. One of the things you can start with is the bass line. So you can go through the original song, listen for what you want to keep and what you want to change, and that'll set up your chord progressions. And you can also think about and play around with the types of beats you want in the different sections. If you need some extra inspiration, I recommend looking up live performances of the song or covers. It also might help to make a pacing map where you draw the different intensities of each section. Part 6 in my series on better vocal arranging. Let's talk about syllables. I think we've all sung those arrangements where you get real tired of singing the same syllables over and over again, you know, like doo-dah. But you can use syllables to your advantage in your arrangement by using them to infuse dynamic contrast throughout the arrangement and tell a story. You can use smaller sounds like ooh and for those sections that you want to be more pulled back, and you can use bigger sounds like oh and ah when you want those sections to be bigger. Now, you don't just have ooh, oh, ah, eh, and e. You can combine them, you can add overtones to them, you can invent your own freaking sounds. Some of my favorite sounds I've used in arrangements are Hoo, and which is like a ooh with an overtone sound in it. Another thing to think about with syllables is what kind of articulation you want. For softer articulation, you can put an aspiration in front of a vowel. For a more hard-hitting attack, you can put glottals and consonants in front of it. This is part 7 in my series on better vocal arranging. Last time we talked about choosing syllables for your arrangement, and today we're going to be talking about the other part of that, which is words. So here are 4 ways you can use words in your arrangement. Number 1 is the most obvious, which is harmonizing your lead homophonically, which means at the same time. And it can sound like this. You should have known. Number 2 is to answer the lead with the same words but different melody. And here's an example. Number 3 is to take an important word or couple words from the phrase and make a rhythmic texture out of it. And here's what that sounds like. I'm sorry. Number 4 is to write new lyrics that help complement the story told by the lead vocal. I hope that gives you some ideas. Make sure to follow for more tips like this.